Rules Committee, Minnesota's Senior Senator Amy Klobuchar. Senator, it's great to see you. Thanks for making time to be with us tonight.
Thanks, Rachel. Could I just first thank you for holding this hearing? You know how much is going on in Washington today, this week, this month, and I was afraid it was going to get forgotten, honestly. And those people that came forward were so courageous to even tell their stories. Mr. Schmidt, the Republican from Philadelphia, talked about the fact that he knew he put himself at greater risk by even coming forward, but he was telling the story of so many Democrats, Republicans from big cities, from little towns and rural areas who are election officials who have been threatened. Their families have been threatened, and not all of them have the police protection that he said he has been able to get. And so I just want to thank you for highlighting it, because it is a frightening, frightening thing. And there are a number of solutions I hope we can discuss.
Well, I want to talk about those proposed solutions and how we would get there. I do want to say, when Mr. Schmidt got to the part of the hearing where he said he is not running for re-election, that he can't take it, that he can't keep doing this, that he can't keep doing this to his family. It was, you know, a heartfelt thing, and also just, you know, shocking and upsetting to hear, because, as you say, in some ways, he's actually privileged over other election workers who don't have the kinds of protections that he has as an elected official. But it does feel unrelenting, and it does feel like there's no help coming.
And Katie Hobbs, this is one of the things she said. She got a voicemail. She's the Secretary of State, the woman that you featured from Arizona. I am a hunter, and I think you should be hunted. You will never be safe in Arizona again. Wade Henderson, a civil rights leader, talked about the effect this has had in African-American communities. This is countrywide. We even had a conservative Secretary of State. You heard from him, at least focusing on the fact that we are basically losing election workers. So our job, protect and defend the Constitution. So to me, that means it is time to pass the Freedom to Vote Act. You rightfully pointed out Republicans have blocked it, but we must bring it up again. Senator Schumer is committed to bringing our bill up again. This is the bill that, you know, Senator Manchin has signed his name on the dotted line. He was in the group of us that worked on it with Senator Padilla and Warnock and Senator Merkley and Kane and King and Tester and myself, spanning the country. And we put together a really good bill, and it basically addresses this. This should be a federal crime when this kind of stuff happens. We should not allow state legislators to arbitrarily fire local election officials. The election records should be protected. There are a number of things that would be in that bill that would give these local officials the kind of protection and respect that they need, in addition to the work that has to be done on the state basis and the protection they well need. We need to have election workers, and we cannot let these people destroy our democracy.
Republicans who were part of your committee today could not help but have been moved by some of these testimonials today, both from the Democrats and the Republicans who testified. Is there any appetite among them to try to fix this, to try to protect these folks some other way, even if for whatever reason they're not willing to sign on to legislation that includes voting rights? Will they at least talk about this, or talk about solutions to this in a narrow way, in a way that would just be about providing federal protection to people who are threatened for doing this kind of public service?
Well, I hope so, but we have so many other issues we're dealing with on elections, with over 400 election suppression bills that have been introduced across the country, over 30 passed. I will say Senator Blunt did hold this hearing with me. It wasn't one of those hearings where I just held it and he grudgingly came. He issued a very strong statement ahead of the hearing. So I'm going to continue to pursue that. But right now, there is one clear solution, not just to this problem, Rachel, but to the fact that in Georgia right now, you will not be able to vote on weekends during the runoff period. There's going to be less drop-off boxes in states all over the country, there's attempting and have made it harder to cast mail-in ballots. We've got states that are still requiring notary publics, like in South Carolina. If you want to order a mail-in ballot, you have to have someone notarize it and find a notary. This is after the biggest turnout in American history in a federal election. in the middle of a public health crisis. So in the words of Reverend Warnock, some people don't want some people to vote. And that is why we must restore the Senate by allowing bills like this to come up if our colleagues are going to block them. There is no way, when you look to the past, that leaders in either party ever imagined that you wouldn't even debate a bill like this, that my colleagues would be, I guess, hiding behind their desks instead of actually allowing us to debate this bill, giving us their ideas. But that's where we are right now. And that's why I think once we get through this really important week, and hopefully very soon we'll have an agreement on the Build Back Better agenda, we must turn to this again. We must find a way to allow this bill to be debated and go forward. And the haunting words of those elected officials, if that is not enough to bring it to the floor again, I don't know what is.
Minnesota's Senior Senator, Rules Committee Chair Amy Klobuchar. Senator Klobuchar, it's always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for joining us tonight, and thanks for focusing on this today in such a potent and incisive way.
Thank you, Rachel.
All right, we got much more ahead here tonight. Stay with us.